my wife, Mary Ellen, I said, Mary, I think it's time I leave. I'm not going to run for mayor. She said, that's great, finally. And I said, well, the other thing is I think I want to run for Congress in the district. And she said to me, she said, I'll tell you what, you run, that's fine. I'll get in the boat, but I'm not going to row. I'm just getting in the boat. But that's changed since things have happened, because she's rowing, steering, and you can ask the staff. When I looked at this district, I couldn't believe the way the district was drawn, because it went so far out into Will County. You start the district in Bronzeville at 26th in Michigan, and you end up in Elwood. How do you represent something like that? Karen says sometimes you pray and God works in strange ways. I said, maybe God's saying, try this. Let's get out and do this. Because when I looked and I talked to people, everybody in this district we had ties to, and we understood this district. One thing about being mayor of Blue Island, I understand things that a lot of other people don't, simply because of where we're at. We border Chicago. I face the same problems that the inner city of Chicago has. I've worked with all the mayors in the South region and the Southwest region, because I realized their growth pattern was only going to be the stabilization for jobs for Blue Island people. If you look at all the mayors now, and I mean Mayor Holland can attest to this, there is so much more of a regional approach with the mayors groups now than there ever was in the past. There isn't this, I'm going to go after this, screw my town next to me. That's gone. This is now knowing that in order for our country and our state to survive, we have to work together. So I'm taking that to the level of Congress. When I started this, I didn't know how I was going to do. I talked to some people. I said, okay, first thing you got to do is you got to raise $1 million. I said, $1 million? And I think Marty can tell you, well, yeah, we can do that. And he pretty much did it in his race. The problem was, as soon as he raised his $1 million, the National Party for the Democrats dumped 6 into it. And so now all of a sudden he's saying, what is this? How is this? So we went into this saying, we're not going to raise $1 million. We're going to run this campaign as a grassroots campaign. We're going to go back to the basic principles that founded this country. And that means is that the people who are running for office are running because they want to serve the people who they're running for. And that means you have to go out and meet the people. And granted, this is a huge district. It's very hard to do. But you can do it. So we went out and just started I touched base with all the mayors. I said, guys, women, here's the deal. I'm one of you. I understand your principle. I understand when they pass a law in Washington and it's a 3% tax on your small business, what it means to your downtown business district, what it means to people who have jobs there, and what it means to you as a mayor when you can't handle it. When you're fighting these roams in Washington, they have no idea how it really affects you. I want to be there to tell them when they go to do this, that this affects you locally, and that the local perspective has to be looked at before you look at the macro perspective. We have to give the government back to the people we serve. This is not a government about government. This is a government about people, for the people, by the people, and of the people. And that's what it is. When the senator was kind enough to let me help him in his campaign for governor, I learned a lot of things, and I learned how different things work at statewide. And I've been able to utilize that a little. But I will tell you this. When I knock on doors, or when I go to coffees, or when I talk to people in different groups, this country is about to be reborn. There are people out there who are actively participating in things. The old days, when I used to tell people, would you vote for me? Yeah, I'll vote for you, but leave me alone. It's not there anymore. People are saying, I'm going to call my neighbors. I'm going to have them. If I have a coffee, will you come? Because they want people to start getting involved again. And that's what it's about. We have to change what we've let this country become. And that is we've let the government become a mailing, a TV ad, and non-participation. We've let the elected officials stay in this aura up here instead of being down here. We can change that. And this district is winnable. We were talking earlier, how can you win it? This is a Democratic district. How do you look at it? Here's the change what they've had to do. The city of Chicago lost 250,000 voters. And most of those voters were in the South area. That meant that either Congressman Jackson or Congressman Rush would have to run against each other unless they spread these districts out. So what they did with Congressman Jackson is his district reaches from Burnham Harbor to past Kankakee. Congressman Rush's district reaches from Bronzeville to Elwood. Now, when they did this, they looked at the numbers and they said, 4 years ago when the president won, 60%, there was a Democratic vote of 60%. What they didn't realize is that a big chunk of that is in the suburbs. And suburban people are tired of the city of Chicago. They're tired of what goes on in Chicago. People in Chicago are tired of what is in Chicago. We've been talking to people in Chicago who said, we're no better off now than we were 4 years ago. And so why shouldn't we change? And what they're looking at is, okay, how can you represent the city and the suburbs? My experience in Blue Island has allowed me to do that. I've dealt with things. You know, when I first of all, they told me when I ran for mayor, you can't be an incumbent. He was 8 years as mayor, Democratic committeeman, mayor, president of the mayor's caucus. You're only 30 years old, or 31 at the time. You're not going to win. Why do it? Because we need to change. So I did.